Last week, when Sirui launched the second Aurora series autofocus lens, a 35mm f1.4, my feeds got flooded with G-Master killer thumbnails and titles. And because for me 35-1.4 is a go-to lens, a must-have lens, a $500 G-Master killer sounds like a really good deal. Luckily, Sirui was kind enough to send a copy to me, a sample, so here it is. But sadly, either my copy is bad or all these titles weren't actually true, because it's not even close to the quality and performance of my 4-year-old G-Master lens. So in this video, I'm going to give you an overview of this lens, show the behind the scenes and screen recordings from my portrait shoot with this lens on a 50 megapixel Sony A1 camera, a bunch of samples from this photo shoot, and comparison photos and screen recordings of Sirui performance versus Sony G-Master performance. All of the photos you're gonna see are edited with my Magicadabra presets and retouched effortlessly with Reblum, which is the sponsor of this video. So let's go. If you're new around here, welcome. My name is Magic. I'm a destination wedding photographer, and I have been shooting weddings for over 13 years. And since 2021, I run this YouTube channel talking about cameras, lenses, and wedding photography. So please subscribe if you're into that. Sirui 35 f1.4 is definitely a beauty of a lens. In the box, it comes with this nice microfiber pouch, a nice large pouch, and a lens itself with a plastic hood. The build of the lens, it's actually very nice. I really like it. I really like the design, the blue Sirui logo. It's very nicely balanced also. And the weight, being at around 500 grams, is pretty much identical to Sony G-Master weight. And also the size is very similar, with the only major difference being Sirui having a smaller filter diameter of 62mm versus Sony's 67mm. We have a very nice aperture ring, which is very satisfying to use. Just listen to it. And you can lock it at A, auto, or at the numbers, which you can't do on Sony. And we also have one custom button, autofocus to manual focus switch, and aperture click on and off, so just like Sony. The lens is weather sealed. It has like a gasket at the bottom at the mount, and also USB-C port for firmware upgrades. Overall, I am pleased with the design of the Aurora lenses, and this one feels and looks identical to previously launched 85 f1.4 lens from this series. Performance-wise, this is where it gets interesting. On Sony A1, I'm not gonna lie, the autofocus itself, it's super snappy. It tracks the subjects as it should, which you can see now in the recording from the shoot on the screen. And focus seems to be tracking subjects very well from corner to corner, which is not always the case with third-party lenses. You can see me trying different angles here, so going from the left to the right to the top, different parts of the frame, and it seems to be tracking really, really well with zero problems here. But looking at the photos, first of all of them are edited and retouched. And for the retouch part, as I said before, I used Reblum, today's sponsor, and it's absolutely amazing. Like, it's literally effortless. The way Reblum works is that you can either edit a single image straight from Lightroom, or you can drop a one or bunch of images to the standalone app. It's the simplest but the most effective retouch tool I've used, because it has only 3 sliders and it applies everything automatically. So we have a slider called General, which is the one that removes all the blemishes and making skin look smooth. Then we have Texture, which allows you to control the level of the original skin texture details you want in the image. And then there's a third one, Tone, which is brand new. They've just added it, and it allows you to quickly adjust the skin tone. Then there are 2 presets, Fashion, which puts general and texture slider all the way to the maximum smoothness, and then Neutral, which tones down the general slider a bit. And I actually like it somewhere in between that general and Fashion, which you can do manually. On top of that, you can also batch edit up to 1000 photos by simply dropping a folder of images, just like I did here, and saving the final JPEGs to your computer. The last but not least, Everything here is done fully locally without needed internet connection. I really like that tool, and it gives me very natural looking effect. And you can also get the Reblom as a one-time payment, so no subscriptions, and you have the lifetime access on 2 of your machines. And if you use code MAGIC, you get 20% off, which is really, really awesome. Check out the link in the description. Okay, so we're looking at the photos. The lens does give me that nice and typical to 35 f1.4 wide angle, shallow depth of field look that I love. The background blur is very nice, and it does have a nice character to it. But now the sharpness. The sharpness in the center of the image is pretty great. You can see me zooming in the images. When we look at the 100%, they look great. But whenever I had Suzanne outside of the center of the image, the sharpness really quickly went from great to meh. And left side of the frame, top side of the frame, right side of the frame, and bottom of the frame. You can clearly tell that it's simply not the perfect sharpness. Now, comparing this to my good old G Master, a 4-year-old like G Master that I've been using forever, for this comparison, I've used a tripod to get the closest results, and in every single portrait I shot, G Master is simply way sharper, even in the center. So that's image number 1. Image number 2. Number 3, and here you can also see the difference in how light hits the lens, and both lenses are without the lens hoods because I don't use them, so take that into the account. And then the image number 4. And last but not least, I decided to shoot a sequence of burst images of Suzanne walking towards me, and this is on G Master lens. This is the sequence, and now when we're looking at the images, they're all 100% in focus and 100% sharp. Now, this is the same sequence with Sirui lens. And when taking the photos, it looks like the autofocus is tracking perfectly. But now, looking at the images, it's like most of them are simply just not that sharp. Some of them are sharp, some of them are not sharp. So, I'm not gonna lie, it's not surprising to me that a $500 lens is most definitely not a $1,500 lens killer. It's possible that this might be one flawed unit, like that one sample that they've sent to me and it's not working properly and the rest is perfect, maybe. But also, if the company is sending samples for reviews and mine clearly says sample, here, sample only, they usually send the best copies. So, I don't know what to think about it. So, is it a bad lens? Not at all. It's an amazing lens for $500. The image is beautiful. Most of these portraits, especially like the first part that I shot, like when I had Suzanne in the middle, shots are like 90 to 95% perfect sharpness. But yes, on the edges is not that perfect, and it's most definitely not the G Master level of sharpness. So would I recommend this lens to anyone? To be honest, I would most definitely recommend it if you're tight on a budget, and I believe this is the cheapest 35-1.4 autofocus lens for Sony. And there's something magical about having a 35mm lens wide open at f1.4. Will Sigma or Sony be better than this? Probably yes, like it looks like, but also they're going to be much more expensive because that Sirui comes at a price of 35-1.8 or 35 f2 lenses from these manufacturers. But if you're shopping for one of these, I would definitely maybe try to check different samples before taking one home, as it might be that there's some quality control issue and some units are better while some are worse. Just check the sharpness on the edges. Other than that, for $500, it is a great lens. Not a G Master killer for sure. Now, make sure to check out the Reblom if you like that effortless retouching I've done on my images, and make sure to watch this video now about the difference between 35mm f1.8 lens and 35mm f1.4 lens.